presenters for this session, starting with being a good husband, which is Brother Abdul Jaleel and issues related to marital intimacy and purity. And this is by Sheikh Shaheed Mohammed. So inshallah, at this moment, I'm going to invite both speakers to the head table, and then Brother Abdul Jaleel will start for 15 minutes, and then Sheikh Shaheed Mohammed will do the next 15 minutes, and then we will break for Salatul Dhuhr. The program was supposed to start at 11, we're now at 12 o'clock. The sisters, inshallah, there will be a similar program running simultaneously with the sisters. I'll just announce for the sisters. Sister Zubayna will be taking the first session, and Sister Layla will be doing the second session related to being a good wife and marital intimacy and purity, inshallah. So I'll hand over the microphone to Brother Abdul Jaleel.
There's an emphasis being placed on marriage, right? And he said we often neglect what happens after marriage. What is our role supposed to be as Muslim husbands? But in all honesty, it starts before marriage. In order to be a good Muslim husband, we have to first understand what is our responsibility. Allah says in the Quran, that men are the protectors and maintainers of women. So we need to understand, what does this entail? How do we get to this point? And alhamdulillah, nothing has been left out. We have the full details of the lifestyle of the Prophet ﷺ as it relates to his family life, how he was with his wives, how he was with his children. So, being a good Muslim husband actually starts before. With what? How we deal with our relationship with Allah and our character, our mannerism. The Prophet ﷺ advised that if a man comes to you asking for your daughter's hand in marriage, and you are pleased with his religion and his manners, his character, then you should marry him. So the process starts even before we get married. When the brothers normally come and say, I need a wife, and they give you what they want in their ideal wife, you have to ask, brother, are you living the type of lifestyle that would be pleasing to such a wife that you want? She must memorize Quran, pray in the night. I want a wife that wakes me up for Fajr. No, you should be up for Fajr. You should be the one waking her up. We should not be getting married with the intent that she will rectify me. As Allah says, الرجال قوامون على النساء. men are the maintainers and protectors of women. It is we, the husbands, who will have to lead them in salah. They cannot fast their sunnah fast without our permission. It is we that they will have to depend upon for most of their knowledge. At least this is how it should be. So we start before marriage by first preparing ourselves to be married. Gaining the necessary means, financial means. Gaining the necessary knowledge. Understanding what it is to be a husband in Islam. Now, in preparing ourselves to be good husbands, it takes on three general categories. One, the spiritual aspect. The Prophet ﷺ said, each of you is a shepherd, and each of you is responsible for his flock. The leader is a shepherd who is responsible for his flock. The man is the shepherd of his family and is responsible for his flock. And it goes on, saying that the woman and the servant are also shepherds and responsible. So, we're responsible for our women, both in taking care of them, in terms of their housing, their clothing, their food, and also in terms of nurturing them spiritually, teaching them, reminding them. Allah has told us that He has placed us a degree over the women. This is not a means of belittling the women, no. Rather, it is us bearing the responsibility for her. We are the means of her rectification if she develops deficiencies in her practice. Oftentimes, brothers start developing problems in their marriage and they do not know what to do. And they fear going to anyone because they don't want anyone to know that there's problems. Now he lacks the knowledge to rectify the situation and he refuses to take any advice from anyone. And so turmoil begins to develop and soon after the marriage ends in divorce. This is upon us as the head of the household. So we start by learning what is our responsibility. One of the provisions set forth for the woman is a wali or a wakil. And we often see that brothers in our time, they do everything to bypass this person. Right? And we cannot ignore this, my brothers, because this is as a protection for the woman. And in part of being a good husband is ensuring the protection of the wife. Okay, my time is limited, so I speed up. The Prophet ﷺ had commanded us in more than one hadith to be good to our women, meaning our wives, to treat them kindly, to treat them gently, not to criticize them in public. So we do not shame them, we do not rebuke them in public. And when we are in the privacies of our own home, we deal with them gently, turning them back to the way of the Quran and the Sunnah. We have to understand that our wives and the Prophet ﷺ have been made from a bent rib. So, while there might be some characteristic in her that we dislike, there will be other characteristics that we find pleasing. So the Prophet ﷺ has instructed us to deal with them kindly and gently. And do not try to straighten them, or we will break them. And their breaking is divorcing them. And even though divorce is permissible in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ has told us that this is the most detestable of all the things that have been made permissible. So even though Allah allows it, it is still detestable to them. We are commanded to ensure that our women folk dress properly. If we allow our wives to go out improperly dressed, this falls under our responsibility, and it is something that we will be questioned about. So part of us being good husbands is ensuring that our wives are properly attired when going out. Also, we are to ensure that they do not mix freely with those who are not mahram to them. That everyone doesn't feel that they have the freedom to mix and mingle with our wives. Oh, it's our co-worker. Oh, it's our cousin. No, we need to know who it is that is mahram to her and who is not. And ensure that she does not entertain anyone who she should not. The Prophet ﷺ used to spend quality time with his wives. In the latter part of his life, he had 9 wives. Because he was the ruler, he was the judge, he was the leader of the army, he was the da'i. Yet, he never let this stop him from giving his wives time. We know the hadith where the 3 Sahaba said, one said, I will not marry anyone. One said, I will fast always and never break my fast. The other one said, you pray the whole night. The Prophet ﷺ said, he is the best at serving Allah and fearing Allah. Yet, he fasts and breaks his fast. He sleeps some of the night and prays some of the night, and he marries women. We should not allow our duties of providing for our families or attaining knowledge or worshiping Allah to divert from us dealing with our wives and our family properly. As this is also an act of worship. And we are also in charge of entertaining our wives and our families in an Islamic way. So we have to ensure that they are taken care of spiritually, educationally, financially, and also in terms of entertainment. We have to know what is halal, what is haram, and ensure that they are kept entertained, lest they should find entertainment elsewhere from other sources, which are haram. So that is it. But we should look into this matter, my brothers and sisters. My brothers, this is very important. The responsibility is ours, and we should ensure that we gain the necessary knowledge to fulfill our duty.
To our beloved brother Abdul Jaleel. Inshallah, at this moment, because we're going to break in about 15 to 20 minutes for Salatul Dhuhr. But before breaking, we're going to ask Sheikh Shaheed that he's going to look briefly on the matter or the issue of marital intimacy and marital purity, inshallah. So we would like to.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله ومن والاه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, we begin or we continue in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. We bear witness that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last and final messenger of Allah. I remind you brothers, I remind myself, as I remind myself, that we ought to remember that actions are only accepted if our intentions are genuinely for the sake of Allah, and that if our actions are in accordance to that of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even though you may have this intention, this is a reminder. I am reminding everyone to reconsider their intention, making it sincerely for the sake of Allah, and to pay close attention to His methodology, and to make sure that it is in accordance to that of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a principle that needs to be applied within our lives if it is that we want to have contentment. If we want to be content with our life and our wives, there has to be a principle that has to be applied. It's very difficult within our society. It is very difficult within our society for a male, for a man, to be fully content and happy with his wife in our society because of the advertisements and how the women carry themselves within the society. The principle that we can apply, brothers, is that we have to make sure that our standards in everything we do reflects the standards of the Quran. If our standards in everything we do reflect the standards of the Quran, then we will be contented, then we will be happy, then we will be satisfied with how we live our lives. If we place our standard to match the standard of society, then we will not be happy. We will not be satisfied. We will not be content. When something is given to you, you say, even though people may not see it as the best, to me it is the best. This is the concept. So what principle is that? That principle is to make your standard a reflection of the standard that is presented within the Quran. When Allah Azza wa Jal speaks about how we should deal with our wives and what we expect from them, there is an ayah that is the Ummul Ayah in this topic. It is the mother of ayat when it comes to intimacy and how a Muslim male is expected, a husband is expected to deal with his wife. Before we look at this ayah, by the way, I want each and every one, those who are married of course, to ask themselves, when they go to their wives, when they go home to their wives and they open the door, do they feel a sense of relaxation? Do they feel a sense of stability? Do they feel that they are going somewhere where they're settled? Or the minute they open the door, they feel ihraj, they feel uneasy, they feel agitated? I know half of the persons here are probably married and half are not married, right? So that is for those who are married. This ayah, inshallah, will set the standard in how you deal with your wives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Rum, verse 21, He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها. And from the signs of Allah is that He has created for you from amongst yourselves spouses, wives, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you can settle and live with them and feel a sense of sakina, tranquility. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً, And He has established, Allah has established between these two, wife and husband, mawadda, which is translated to mean love, but beyond love, and we will get into it inshallah. Wa rahma, and mercy. So Allah has established between these two persons, mawaddatun wa rahmatun. Inna fi dhalika la'ayatin liqawmin yatafakkarun. Indeed, within these are signs for people to think. Within these things are signs for people to think. Now, this ayah comes in between two very important ayahs within Surah Al-Nur. And we're going to look at the one before and the one after very quickly, so that we can even appreciate this ayah more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ. And from among His signs is that He has created you from dirt, from soil. ثُمَّ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ بَشَرٌ يَنْتَشِرُونَ. Then you become human beings, تَنْتَشِرُونَ, and you spread among the earth. So it is from Allah's signs that He has created you from dirt, from soil, and that you become human beings and you spread all over the place. The ayah that comes after that is the ayah we took. When we find that human beings are spread far and wide, how is it that we bring them together? How is it that they live? How is it that they show love and mawadda and rahmah between themselves? Obviously through marriage, through intimacy, even within marriage. The ayah that comes after it, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ. And from among the signs of Allah is that He, Allah, has created the heavens and He has created the earth, and He has created your tongues differently, which means that you speak different languages. وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, and that your color is different, that He has created your skin differently. He has created you in different races. The one who has created the heavens, the one who has created the earth, He has created you differently. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Indeed, this is a sign for the entire creation. So we are different among each other. It doesn't mean that we can't live together. We sometimes think that we can only marry from among the people who are of our same skin color. Or we can only marry from among the people who speak our own languages. Even though these are initial boundaries, these are not boundaries within the concept of marriage. Understand that. Even though these may be initial boundaries of communication, this is not a boundary that prohibits marriage. Rather, you can marry someone who speaks a different language. You can marry someone who is of a different culture, who is of a different race. And so let's return back to the ayah. The main ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, from His signs is that He has created for you from yourselves spouses. Just imagine from this ayah that Allah has created for you from other than yourselves spouses. Just imagine if Allah had created for you from other species, from the animal spouses for you. Just imagine if Allah had created for you from the angels, from the jinn, spouses for you. How would that have been? And so Allah says, understand that it is from His signs to indicate His wisdom, to indicate His ability to create, that from among you He has created a spouse for you. For what reason? And so we ask ourselves, what is the purpose of az-zawaju, coming together? What is the purpose behind that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established that purpose. Allah says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهِمْ, so that you can all live. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you can all live in tranquility with them. And the word sakinatu means that you're at peace. It means that you're relaxed. It means that whatever storm and hurricane and disaster that is happening outside of the home, that disaster and storm and hurricane should not be happening within the home. And we, the males, are the one who need to control the meteorological atmosphere within our home. That if it storms inside our home, then it must be something that we have done. We, the men, as well as Abdul Jaleel has said. But rather we should make it so that when we get home, our women to us is a means of peace and tranquility. And we understand the state and condition of women. That sometimes they may do things and they themselves are not pleased with it. They may cook you a meal and they themselves don't feel that this meal is cooked well enough. And we understand that temperament. You need to make sure that if it's a case where your wife is always burning the food, for example, your wife is always burning the food, her meals are not delicious, it means that something is wrong with the tools that she's using. Probably you need to buy her a new stove or a new oven, or probably the light in the kitchen is too dull. So you need to change that. You need to create an atmosphere so that when you go home, you are at peace. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. And Allah says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً. So Allah has established between husband and wife, mawadda. And this is similar to the word hub, but very different in application. The word mawaddatun, the word hub, as the scholars have said, resides within the heart. You are inclined to something based on a feeling you have on the inside. But mawaddatun, that affection is something that has to be shown on the limbs. So the husband has to show that affection to the wife, and the wife has to show that affection to the husband. The husband should never set his standard to say that my affection, because sometimes society dictates the standard of how a husband expresses his affection. A husband should not say, I buy you food, I pay your rent, I provide you with clothing, I feed the kids, you have a shelter, you have water, you have electricity. Understand that this is my love for you, this is my affection to you. No. A male needs to express that affection not only in the things he gives, but the actions he does towards his wife. It is manly, it is masculine for a Muslim to say to his wife, I love you. And he says it to the amount of time she asks. And we know that the women, they would ask 10, 15 times a day, how much do you love me? Do you love me? You love me? I know the brothers are. Some of the brothers who are not married are probably wondering what's happening. But now, this is from the nature of women. They want to hear it from your mouth that you love them. And as Mufti Ismail Bank, he says that you need to say love with tajweed. And we know that there are 4 rules of tajweed. There's the rule of ikhfa, which is to hide the noon. Some of us, we hide the love from our tongues. And there is another rule, which is idgham, which is to merge the sounding of letters. So sometimes we say, I love you, I love you. And it doesn't come out clearly. There is no idgham within love. And there is iqlab sometimes. We want to avoid, which iqlab is changing from one letter to another. Sometimes we want to avoid saying to our wives, I love you. So we buy a chocolate and we're silent and we push it there. And that's my love for my wife. We give her isharat, signals, and we point and we, take off this, go there, and we don't say I love you. This is iqlab. But rather, we should say, I love you with idhar. Idhar is to make sure that everything is pronounced clearly, so that she doesn't have any doubt within in her mind. What is it that you said? I love you. And of course, we can be very creative in that. Wa rahma. So this is mawadda. Wa rahma. And that there must be mercy within the household. That we as husbands, we're not going to be functioning at our best, at our optimum. Our wives, she's not going to be functioning at their optimum, at their best. Who is it that always functions at their optimum? Who is it that always functions at their best? Allah, and Allah alone. Allah says, "La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm," that He's not affected by drowsiness and sleep. which means that there is never a time where he's distracted. There is never a time where he's less optimum, which is drowsiness, because you're not fully functional when you're drowsy. There's never a time when Allah is never functional. Allah is always optimum. But we fall short. And so rahmatun baynana is what fills the shortcomings between us. Rahmatun baynana is what fulfills the shortcomings between us. And this is how I want you to understand rahmah. I want you to understand rahmah like how a child is conceived within the womb of its mother, of their mother. The womb within itself is called rahim. In Arabic, rahim, and it shares the same word, rahmah. When a child is within this womb, he doesn't really know what level of rahmah he's experiencing, right? Everybody with me? When a child is in the womb of its mother, of his or her mother, is he aware of the level of rahmah that he's experiencing? That he's protected from everything and that he's being fed at the expense of the mother. And he doesn't know this. How I want everyone to understand rahmah bayna zawjayn, to understand mercy between husband and wife, is that you should be merciful to her without dangling it in her face. Without even she realizing that, hey, ultimately, this is mercy from Allah. This type of ta'amul and dealings that my husband have with me, he's not using it against me. And sometimes we as the male, our standard is, whenever we do something for our wives, we remind them of it. Remember who buy you that, remember who give you that, remember who send you to school, remember who look after you, remember who feed you, remember who shelter you. This is not mercy, this is not mawab, this is not rahmah. The rahmah should happen directly between husband and wife, but technically everything is happening in the background. And everything is being fashioned, and everything is being accommodated for whenever a shortcoming happens, then rahmah is introduced. And then we have the last thing, بينكم رحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. And so indeed this in itself, this type of arrangement that Allah has made for husband and wife, it is a sign of Allah's ultimate existence. It is a sign of Allah's ultimate wisdom, and it is a sign of Allah's ultimate mercy. So we should embrace Allah, embrace our devotion towards Allah in identifying and accepting how we should deal with our husbands and wives and the standard that is set by Allah. So I remind you, as I remind myself, mothers and sisters, if it is that you want to feel satisfied, if you want to be pleased with your situation, if you want to be pleased with your wife, then you need to set your standards to reflect the standard of Allah Azza wa Jal. To reflect the standard of Allah Azza wa Jal. If you put your standards to reflect the standard of society, then you will be chasing after something that is impossible. You will never be happy. You will never be pleased. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم من كل ذنب إن الله هو الغفور الرحيم.